Hi, as you all know, I'm Chantelle, and I am studying to become a personal fitness trainer, so thank you for helping me with my assignment today. Our presentation is on the human organ systems. So just for fun, you've got in front of you a word search. So as you go through the presentation, look for the clues in the slideshow and circle or strike out the letters of the clue word that you see. So look for the clues. So, who can tell me what an organ system is, or name at least one of them? Yes.
Your lungs.
Lungs are an organ, and they are part of the respiratory system. But whoever thinks about their skeletal system? What are the organs in your skeletal system? Main organs are the bones, cartilage, ligaments, and tendons. We all know what bones are, and that they are the structure for our whole body. Cartilage is a softer type of bone that could be at the end of bones or little pads in between joints that help to both lubricate and absorb shock when we're moving and walking so that the bones aren't damaged. Other function of the skeletal system, though, is that it stores minerals. Within our bones we store calcium and magnesium and things that our body needs. There's also production of blood cells inside the bone marrow. So you'll notice that a lot of the systems will work together. For instance, what's produced in the skeletal system will be used in the cardiovascular system. So, what moves our skeleton around? Muscles. There's three different kinds of muscles. There's the skeletal muscles that move our skeleton around. There are cardiac muscles specifically designed for pumping the heart. And then there's smooth muscles. These are the ones that align other organs and other things in your body, like the stomach, for instance. So they're muscles that push the body or the food through. It's in a process called peristalsis, and that's what those kind of muscles are for. The other thing, the muscular system helps us to hold a proper posture and helps us to produce heat. When you move your muscles, calories are burned and there is heat production, which is why when you get cold, your muscles will start to shiver. They actually start to move and contract just to keep you warm. Then we have the heart again in the cardiovascular system. There are other organs as well, the blood vessels and the spleen, and we know that the heart pumps blood through the whole body so that we get it to all the cells in the body. It keeps them alive. It also transports nutrients, so as part of the digestive system. Sometimes food's broken down and can't get straight to the liver. It's got to be broken down and transported through the blood to get into the next organ that it needs to use to function. And the spleen is part of the cardiovascular system. It is actually a gland that we'll talk about later, so you'll understand why it's considered part of cardiovascular. So now we have the lungs for the respiratory system. The other functions or the other organs in the respiratory system are the mouth and nose, trachea, and the bronchial tubes. This is just the path that our oxygen takes to get to the lungs. And the lungs are responsible for gas exchange. We take in the oxygen that our body needs. It goes through our blood and helps with all kinds of processes. And then we expel carbon dioxide as the byproduct of what our body doesn't need. Next, digestion. We do this every day. We all know our food goes in the mouth. There's actually some enzymes already starting in the mouth that start the digestive process. Then the food travels down the esophagus into the stomach and actually isn't absorbed much until it gets to the small intestine. 90% of our absorption of all the minerals and vitamins that we take in are absorbed in the small intestine. Now the next one's called endocrine system. It's a system of glands, which are organs that produce hormones and chemicals that we need for other functions in the body. Some of the main ones you might know, the pancreas, which secretes insulin and glucagon, the two things that balance our blood sugars. Insulin comes along when our blood sugars are too high and helps the body to produce them and produce glycogen with that sugar, so it can be stored for energy later on. And if the blood sugar gets too low, glucagon kicks in, and it's the endocrine system that tells those hormones to go out and help to adapt the organ to what its needs need to be so the body can remain in healthy balance. Lymphatic system is a little like the endocrine system. Lots of glands that produce specific specific hormones and things like that. It's a system of ducts and nodes. And the nodes are like, they're sort of like check stations in the lymph system, which is, it's a fluid system in the body. There's actually twice as much lymph fluid in your body as blood. It's kind of like blood, it just doesn't have the red blood cells. So if you did see some of it, it kind of looks like a clear, sometimes you poke your finger or something like that. It's not close enough to hit a blood vessel, so you don't actually see blood, but you might see this clear liquid. It's actually lymph, and it functions a lot like blood. It carries nutrients through the body. It's also kind of like a security guard. It produces antibodies, for instance, if you get a virus introduced into your body. So it learns to attack, foreign substances. And it also remembers everything that it ever comes in contact with. So if you catch that same flu or the same cold again, your body's much quicker to react to it because it remembers what it had to do. So that's how it also builds our immune system, because it keeps track of all of that. Urinary system is pretty straightforward. Mostly discards excess water and salt that we have in our bodies after the processes are done for the digestion. The kidneys, ureter, just the tube that takes the fluid from the kidneys down to the bladder, and then the urethra where we discharge the extra water. Also helps to control the pH balance, which is the acid-alkaline balance in our bodies, by discarding more salt or more acid if we have too much. The nervous system, we hear about the central nervous system a lot, but that's the big player, but that's the brain and the spinal cord only. The nerves that complete the rest of our body come from the spinal cord, and there's a peripheral system, peripheral nerves that come out to all of our sensory organs, ends of our fingers and our toes, and everywhere else. The two types of nerves are sensory or motor. So sensory nerves will feel when you touch something, and it sends a message back to the brain and spinal cord to tell them what it's encountered. And then there are motor neurons that send a message back for what to do. So the typical scenario is hot stove. You put your hand near the hot stove, and before you even think about what you're going to do with your hand, your nerves have already sent that sensory message right up to your brain, and the motor response has been sent back already. You pull your hand away before you even have had time to think about it. So it receives and processes input from internal and external sources. Internally, it listens to things like that blood sugar level. The system's telling the brain we've got too much sugar in the blood, and the brain helps to let the pancreas know it needs to produce more insulin. Integumentary system. Probably never heard of it, because I hadn't either before this course. But it is our protection from external conditions. So it's our skin. The skin is the largest organ in the human body, and it's there to protect us, our soft tissues and our muscles, and also hair. It's there to keep us warm, and sweat glands. This is why I chose this lovely picture. Sweat glands help with the heat control of our body. When we get too hot, we start to sweat. So the liquid on the outside of our body is helping to cool our skin. Also the fingernails, because they're nice and hard and help to protect the ends of our fingers and toes where we have a lot of contact with the outside world. Reproduction. The organs of both male and female reproduction system produce the cells specific to those needs. So if we didn't have the right cells in the female or male body, then we could not contribute to the condition or the continuing of the human race. So they're pretty important. And since we're now ready to create the world and keep the world going, I wonder if there are any questions. Who can spell integumentary? Okay, then, if you have found all the words in the word search, okay, turn it over now, or unfold it. Start to write down on the blanks in the bottom all of the letters that are not circled. So left to right, starting at the top. That's cool. Okay.
Come on, try glasses. Good job.
Okay, so if you found all the letters, tell me what the leftover letters spell. Austin.
Murder links, ZWDL.
Those were the extras. Murder links. So the riddle that will make sure that you remember everything you learned today is, if you wanted to kill a man, you would have to destroy all 11 of his
Murder links.
Does anyone know what it means?
It's like, it's an abbreviation.
It is an acronym
Yeah.
for all of the 11 systems of human organ system. Muscular, urinary, respiratory, digestive, endocrine, reproductive, lymphoid, integumentary, nervous, cardiovascular, and
Brain?
skeletal. So, once again, thank you for coming.
Can you do it again?
I'd like to. I missed a few things.
I like the end. I like the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to.